Hello and welcome to Adapter Parish, a podcast about adaptation. I'm Jeremy Latour.
And I'm Ian Averill, and today we're talking about The Wedding Banquet.
I feel like this is one of those ones that is not like widely known. I'm going to start this whole episode off being mad about something. Are you okay with that?
I guess.
If I wanted to watch 1993's The Wedding Banquet,
yes,
directed by Ang Lee,
a venerated director,
you can't watch it anywhere, and it's bullshit. Like I don't need to sit here and like describe the hoops we had to go through, but like anytime there is a movie that you can't just watch whenever you want, it is upsetting.
And sure, that's like a perspective thing, but also it is weird how like it's the way that the world works in almost every case, and then when it doesn't, everything just kind of grinds to a halt and it feels weird.
Yeah. I'm just going to tell everyone right now, if you haven't seen 1993's The Wedding Banquet, we're obviously going to talk about that movie. We're also going to talk about the 2025 version that just came out. Both are good. The 1993 one's fantastic. See it. And I feel bad saying that because like you're going to have to do weird things like order a DVD.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's weird to say.
Like
So I just wanted to get that anger out of the way. It's just very frustrating because like good movie, get a good movie in front of eyeballs. Also, new remake. Don't people maybe want to see the original? And apparently no one wants that to happen.
Allowed to.
Make so people can see. That's all I want. So The Wedding Banquet.
Yeah. Came
out in 1993. It was directed by Ang Lee. It was like his second movie. It was written by him with Neil Peng and James Schamus. James Schamus went on to do two things that are notable. One, he co-founded Focus Features.
Yep.
And two, he co-wrote the new version of The Wedding Banquet. So we're going to get back to James Schamus's involvement.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So it's the story of a man named Wai Tung, who is a gay Taiwanese man who is living in New York City in a committed relationship with his partner, Simon. His thing is that he owns property.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a slumlord.
No, absolutely.
Let's not beat around the bush. He's a bit of a slumlord.
Yeah.
But one of the people who rents from him is this woman, Wei Wei, who we learn very quickly is a very good friend of his. She's Chinese. And she's really sad because she is going to have to go back because her visa is running out.
Yeah, and she has trouble holding down a job.
And they're all talking about it. And then Simon has this great idea. Wei, he says, you can marry Wei Wei because we can't get married, obviously.
It's 1993.
It's impossible. But you can marry her and then she can stay. It's very cute. Wei's like, no, that's ridiculous. And he's like, you get a tax break. And Wei's like, I'm listening.
Yeah. Like you said, like a large part of Wei's whole thing is that he's a busy businessman who only likes business.
Yes.
And he is like very into, making money and definitely a slumlord. Also doesn't seem like a very good boss. He's always like threatening all of his employees that whatever they do wrong is coming out of their salary and stuff.
I don't know. I feel like the movie was presenting that as like he's like a young guy who's pretending to be a grown up, and
he's posturing. Yeah.
Yes, his threats are rather toothless. It doesn't make them okay. Like I'm not saying it's okay.
Yeah. I think it's more presented as being an immigrant. He's very serious about being successful.
But everything we've described now, that's not a movie.
Right.
That's just people who know each other. In order for this to be a movie, something crazy would have to happen. Like Wei's parents would have to say, our baby boy is getting married.
Yeah.
We must go to him. So they fly to New York City. And then we have a plot because now there is a deception.
We skipped over one aspect of the plot, which doesn't ultimately matter, but I like it because it's a very funny thing to me.
Okay.
His parents or his mom is always got him enrolled in a matchmaking company back in Taiwan.
Are you going to talk about him and Simon putting together the profile?
Yes. So like they put together this wacky where it's just like the woman that he's putting down is like too many things. He's like trying to make it impossible for them to ever find a match because the person that's being described is like Buckaroo Banzai, essentially. Like they're like a rock star nuclear physicist.
Well, it's like she must have 2 PhDs and be an opera singer. And I love her. Doesn't Simon say the thing is like, and she should be 6 feet tall and weighs like, okay, that's crazy. We're talking about Taiwanese people. Put 5'9".
But anyway, at the end of this part of the plot, his parents find him someone with the matchmaking service and fly her there. I mean, they basically like learn the deal with each other. Like she learns that he's gay. He learns that she's like dating a white man and can't like tell her
the
parents.
thing she's so excited about is she's like, we both have a white boyfriend.
Right. But then they just the little thing at the end of their interaction where he's like, "Can you really sing opera?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then she like they're like sitting outside watching the sunset, and she's singing.
No, but it's even better than that because he doesn't ask her that. She just goes,
Oh,
"I
she
do
just
sing
does it.
opera, though." He's like, "Do you want to hear any?" And he's like, "No, I don't like opera." And she just starts singing.
But it's just great because this woman seems like she's great. Like,
Oh, she's awesome.
and she fit all the criteria that he put down for the matchmaking. But she's a woman, so that's a problem.
Yep.
They get that out of the way real fast, and then they go to the Wei situation.
I mean, like, one of the things that's so nice about this movie is that, like, it gets heavy.
Sure.
But there is some ridiculously broad stuff in it. Everything that we've just described is really, like, broad, crowd-pleasing comedy type stuff.
Yes.
But at no point do I feel like those two things are like fighting with each other. Like I feel like one of the things that is the best about the movie is that the balance is there.
There is the broad stuff that you're talking about that's very funny. But what I love about this movie is that it has broad comedy, but not necessarily in the ways that you would expect. And definitely not in like a usual way for movies of this time or like movies in general. Like you hear that setup and you're like, oh, it's going to be like a comedy of errors or like wacky hijinks, or they're always like trying to like hide, there's deception going on. And that usually means a certain vibe in movies. But the cool thing about this one is that it doesn't really do what you expect in that regard.
Yeah. I'm realizing now that they're like, I haven't mentioned any of the actors or the other characters that we haven't met yet. But Winston Chow plays Wei, Mitchell Lichtenstein plays Simon, and Mei Chin plays Wei Wei. They're all fantastic. They have amazing chemistry. They're all so good. I don't want to spend all my time just saying how lovely they all were because they're great. But the other people that we haven't mentioned yet are the parents. So there's Mrs. Gao and Mr. Gao. Mrs. Gao is Gua Ale, and Mr. Gao is Lung Si Hung. When they show up, it's incredible. One of the things that I love about this movie, and it's not the only one movie that does this, but I love when movies lean into like truly like bilingual movies. I love that it never feels like the movie is made for, I'm going to go ahead and say like an American audience versus a foreign audience, because like there are different countries that are involved. Like there's Taiwan and there's China. By the way, I don't really necessarily feel like we need to spend all our time talking about the relations between Taiwan and China.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't going to at all because I do not know enough about anything, but
I wanted to look into it a little bit because one of the things that happens in the new one is that they've changed the country. The character and the family that comes to visit, they're from South Korea.
Yeah.
I think a huge part of that is because like the relationship between China and Taiwan in 1993 was very different than it is now.
Yeah.
Like China has always said, nope, Taiwan is ours. And that is China. Taiwan is not real, is China. And Taiwan has always been like, but Taiwan. And China's like, no. And like in 1993, that was a lot of like talk. And now there's like militarization that's happening around it.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't be able to have them be from there in a movie coming out in 2025 without dealing with that. So I just wonder what part of changing it to South Korea is just because they were like, we don't want our movie to be about that.
Yeah, that's what I imagined. But who knows?
So the parents get there and we have some amazing scenes. Like there's so much going on in the scenes where his parents are visiting. Like one of the ways, I think it's probably like the closest they get to doing like classic kind of screwball stuff is Simon is a really good cook. And he has worked really hard in the time he's been with Wei to learn how to cook the food that Wei likes. And Wei Wei, who's Chinese, she's a terrible cook. And they do a little bit, some light deception around who's cooking the food. And at one point, like the dad gives Wei Wei a compliment about the food that she's cooking. Just the way it deals with Simon's reaction to hearing that they like the food is amazing. Like, it's not just funny. It's not just sweet. It's not just effect. Like, it's all of those things. It's so nuanced. And then we get to the wedding banquet.
I love the scene that creates the wedding banquet where Wade just tells his parents, we're a modern American couple. We're going to just get married at City Hall and we're not going to have a ceremony. His parents are like trying to roll with this, but they can't. Like they walk out of getting the marriage license. Is that what it is? They walk out of getting the marriage license when his mom starts to cry. Or, have they not done it yet?
No, they get married.
And his mom starts crying because she can't handle the fact that there isn't going to be a big traditional ceremony and a banquet and all the stuff. And they're just like, we'll go out for a nice dinner and that'll do it. But they make the mistake of going to a place for dinner where it turns out that the father of the owner of the restaurant turns out served under Mr. Gao in the war and just has an ungodly amount of respect for him and just goes on and on about how he saved his life. This man is amazing and a hero and all this stuff. And then they tell him what's happening. They're like, we just got married and we're having this dinner and that's it. No wedding banquet. And this guy's like, nope.
Yeah.
He's like, nay, no, sir.
And not only no, sir, he's also, how dare you? How dare you do this to these people?
Yeah. He basically like says to Wei Tung, like, you suck and you're disrespecting your entire family. You're having a wedding banquet. I'm going to take care of everything. It's a fantastic scene.
It's so good.
I love it.
So they have the wedding banquet. A lot of great things happen there. It has Ang Lee's cameo, which is pretty wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
After that, Wei Wei and Wei Tung are now in like the bridal suite and they're both drunk and they sleep together. And of course, it's a movie. So all it takes is one time. Yeah. And Wei Wei is pregnant. After she becomes pregnant, tensions rise. And because like Simon finds out and he gets mad. I
love that scene.
It's an amazing scene where he is actively like ignoring the deception. He is just yelling at Wei in front of Wei's parents.
Especially since like they think that they almost entirely can't understand English, but they're just kind of assuming that also.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like someone's like, I think Wei is like, I don't say this in front of them, and he's like, they can't fucking speak English, and then runs out. And like it's just the way they handle all that stuff is surprising and in a really fun way. But like the movie's hilarious, but then Ang Lee throws the pre-abortion scene at us. Wei Wei is going to get an abortion, and the mom knows that this is what's happening, and no one's saying anything. No one's saying this is what's happening, and all that's happening in the scene is that the mom is desperate. She knows that Wei Tung and Wei Wei are trying to leave the house, and the mom is desperately trying to go with them, and they are desperately trying to leave her, and it's awful to watch.
Yeah.
And heartbreaking. And my heart broke for every single character on screen because it's horrible. And like when they leave, because they do leave her there, and the mom just like sinks to the floor. And like, this is the movie. They did the dating scene with the opera singing by the river. This was fun. Ang, we were having fun. And now you're doing this to me. And it all works.
Ang, God damn it.
I mean, we've done Sense and Sensibility and Brokeback Mountain, but like Ang Lee is just one of those people who, like, I think he gets people. He understands what motivations are. Like, I think there are some directors who are big who genuinely don't understand how human emotion works. So I said that about him then, and I feel it even more now. Like, I think he just genuinely understands people.
You know, I haven't watched all of Ang Lee's movies, but I've watched quite a few. A lot of directors, you can say they have a thing. Like a thing that is their main theme that they tend to do. I'm not saying that this is in every one of his movies, but if you look at the vast majority of his movies, his thing is emotional repression.
Sure. Yeah.
That is the thing, is that you have to be so emotionally attuned to how people are to have that be your thing and to be so good at that.
Yeah.
That's what I love the most about him is that, like that's his thing and he's really good at it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that someone like saw The Wedding Banquet and was like, you know what this guy should direct? Jane Austen. Let's get him in front of the cameras to do some Jane Austen.
Yeah.
That was a good idea, turns out, because that movie is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's worth saying before we move on to the next one, like the movie's a little messy. Like it's a little independent movie. It's made for very, very little money. No. They did a lot with what they had.
And he's like pulling some style out of what he had, but like it's a little rough.
Yeah, but like the rough edges of the movie don't in any way detract from the heart and the performances and the character. It's so good. It's so good. This movie is great. So then we go forward to 2025. They remake the movie. It was directed by Andrew Ahn, and it was written by Andrew Ahn with James Schamus.
Yeah.
So we're going to mention him again. Just did.
Boom. Full circle.
Yeah.
You're good at your job. That's podcasting, everybody.
Yeah. It is in some ways the same story. It is in some ways a very different story. The similarities are the general kind of vibe. Like, I mean, I think here's the deal. Yeah, maybe it's an oversimplification, but repressed emotions are kind of what this one is also all about too.
But appropriately in a more modern way, I think.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this feels very 2025 in the way that the Wedding Banquet, the original one, felt very 1993. And if they had just remade that story now, it wouldn't have worked because
that's what's so great about this.
The world is just different now. So there's a lot of differences. But, before we talk about the differences, it still feels like the same story.
Yeah.
There's so many similar beats in it. It doesn't feel arbitrary that it's the same thing. Also, like, maybe I'll get back to this in a second, but as far as like references to the original, like direct references, there's not that many of them. And the ones that are there, I think are handled really well.
Yeah.
Like, I'll credit James Schamus for that, because if anyone who probably had their foot on the scale as far as like controlling how much they were going to be referencing the original, it's probably the person that co-wrote the original. I'm assuming
too. Yeah.
It is very similar, but there are some major differences. They have changed the dynamics of and between the core characters. So we no longer have 3 core characters, 3 core young people. Now we have 4, and now it's 2 couples, and they are all friends. The Wei Tung character is Min.
Yeah.
He's played by Han Gi-chan, who is South Korean in this version. He has his American boyfriend. In this is Chris, played by Bowen Yang.
Yep.
And the jobs are all different. So, like, there's no slumlord thing.
Yeah, they cut that out. They were like, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. It's actually, you know what? Now I'm realizing I kind of told everybody the wrong thing. Min isn't really Wei. He kind of is, but he's the one who wants a green card.
Right. So it's like it's everybody's a little bit of everybody.
Yeah. It's all, everyone's been mixed up a little bit.
Yeah.
So Angela is in some ways the Wei character. So this is Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
So Angela is in a relationship with Lee, who's played by Lily Gladstone. It's not necessarily worth getting into all the intricacies of how the plot develops in this one versus how it develops in the other one, whose idea it is for there to be a fake marriage. But in this one, there is going to be a fake marriage between Angela and Min.
Right.
And instead of the parents from outside the United States, it's the grandmother, who is Yo Jung-yoon. It's kind of a stacked cast. Lily Gladstone, Academy Award winner. Yo Jung-yoon, Academy Award winner. She was the grandmother in Minari.
Yep.
She's incredible. So she's
so fucking good in this movie.
She's the grandmother. She comes to the United States because of this wedding. Like, I'm kind of struggling for a second because I don't want to just describe the plot.
Yeah. It's a little more involved than the first one because, like, Min is essentially like his family is super rich and he just wants to be an artist, but they want him to like get a job at the company.
Yeah. And so his grandmother is like, she's like the head of the company.
I mean, his grandfather is, but he doesn't like.
His grandfather never appears.
Yes. You just hear about him, which I thought was a cool thing because it's like, you know, that there's this incredibly bad, bigoted person.
Yeah.
Whose bigotry is affecting the plot, but they were like, we don't want him in the movie though. And I thought that was a really interesting, like, cool little way to handle that whole thing.
I mean, I feel like that character's been in so many things.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think audiences need to see that now.
You know that the grandmother is like hesitant. You can sense even before it's made clear that she's not like full of hatred.
No. But she's apprehensive.
Yes.
To say the least. So this is the other thing, and this is kind of spoiling it a little bit, but they've changed the context of the deception. Because in this one, there is a scene near the beginning where the grandmother is sitting there in front of these 4 young people. Min and Angela, the couple, are there, and they're telling her, yeah, we love each other. We're going to get married. And she looks at them and she goes, and I'm paraphrasing, "What, do you think I'm stupid?"
Yeah. She says, "You expect me to believe that you have sex with this woman?"
Yeah. Like Min has never officially come out to her, but I just love the fact that like she's like, "I know that you are gay."
Yeah.
And it becomes more about like, if you want, here's the deal. She basically says, "Here's the deal I'll make with you. If you do a big wedding that is in the newspapers, that will make your grandfather happy.
Yeah.
And if your grandfather is happy, that will make my life easier.
Yeah.
If you do that, you don't have to work for the company."
Right.
That's really where the plot kind of starts. That's the deception.
It's also layered in that the whole thing being, if he does this, he doesn't get like disowned and doesn't get his family's massive amounts of money, which if that was everything in the plot, you would think to yourself, well, that's interesting, but it's also kind of like he just wants to have access to his crazy trust fund and stuff. Like that seems kind of selfish. And that is true, but then there's the added thing where Lee and Angela have been trying to have a child and it's not working out, and they need money for additional IVF attempts. And so part of this deal is that Min gives them money for the IVF. It's all like dependent on each other in a complicated but still very nice way.
Complicated, but like it works. Like everything connects.
Yeah.
Not every part is perfect. I want to get back to their jobs for a second because I just want to acknowledge like there are some rough edges to this movie too. Like I do think the first act, it has some of the worst exposition I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
It really bummed me out. It kind of set me against the movie a little bit, and then the movie needed to win me back, and it did. Like it absolutely did. This is a really good movie, and I'm into it. But that first act kind of lost me a little bit. And like one of the people, so Chris, Bowen Yang's character, he has a cousin who is kind of present throughout. There's a lot of characters with a lot of stories and a lot of relationships and a lot of histories, and maybe too many.
I mean, it's possible. I think it's because they realized that they were going to have 4 main characters. Then they needed several of them to have somebody to talk to that wasn't any of the other 3 main characters.
But like, I just want to say about like what they all do. Like Chris's whole thing is that he basically dropped out of grad school and never finished his dissertation, and now he just like gets by, like he leads bird watching tours. Yeah, which is very, very, very cute little job to have.
He's got commitment issues. That's like his whole character.
Angela she's a scientist. She works in a lab and like does a lot of research. Lily Gladstone's character, she's like the head of an like advocacy group, like an LGBTQ plus group, an organizer, very politically involved. And like Min's whole thing is he wants to be an artist, and he does a lot of things with like textiles and stuff like that. And we also never really find out like what the company does that his family owns, but we hear that they're multinational and they have a lot of different things. So I've done a very generous description of all of the jobs in it. A less generous one was a Letterboxd review that I saw from Letterboxd member Q. The jobs in this were great. One guy's job was bird watching. Another one's job was worms. The grandma worked for, quote, corporation. Lily Gladstone literally worked at Gay. And who can forget Patchwork Fabric Guy? Just incredible stuff going on. 2 stars. Now, here's the deal. Do I disagree? No,
it's very funny. It's very
funny.
I
do not. This is spot on.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how stuff like this can scuttle a movie for people. Like it didn't for me, even though it's a problem. I mentioned the cousin before. The way she's introduced in the story, she constantly refers to Chris as cuz. There's a lot of characters looking at each other and saying things that the other character already knows, like, you're my cousin, as you know. And then later, she has a really heartfelt moment where she describes how important Chris and his friends are to her because she's younger than them, and how much work they did to help raise her. And it's really sweet, and it's a really nice monologue, and it's like maybe a little too much. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Here's another example is May, Angela's mom, who's played by Joan Chen.
Oh, yes.
This is a whole thing that's established right from the beginning, that Angela has this mom who was like not cool with her being gay for a while, but is a total narcissist, and then re-entered her life and was like, I am going to be the best gay mom you've ever seen. I'm going to be in every organization, and I'm going to be, she like wins an award at the beginning, and it's hard to watch. I give the movie points for Angela having a sit down with her mom and being really honest about how her mom makes her feel, like halfway through the movie. This is not like a big third act thing that happens between the two of them. It's a really interesting way to show their relationship changing over the course of the movie. Yeah. It doesn't happen the way I would normally expect it in movies. But I take points away in that it's just one more plot happening on top of every other plot that's happening. There's a lot going on, and every character's got to have stuff.
Although the whole thing with Angela's mom is one of my favorite things in the film, because as far as things that you can put in this movie that are updating it to now from 1993, having one of those things be that you have a parent who, instead of being intolerant of you, is kind of a slightly insincere ally and just kind of doing it for clout, is like a very smart modern thing to do.
Heck yeah. I feel like the thing that this movie has that the original doesn't, and this is going to be spoiling a little bit, but I think it's the biggest difference between the two of them. The big reveal at the end of the original is that the dad speaks English. Yeah. Enough to know what's going on. And he has this really nice scene with Simon where he's like, here's the deal. Clearly, you are my son's true love. Yeah. And because of that, you are important to me too. And it's a great moment between the two of them. But because it's at the end of the movie, we don't get to see the dad go on any kind of journey. We don't get to see what it took to get him there. And we also don't get to really see what happens after that, because it's basically the end of the movie. This movie is like, hey, that kind of stuff, those conversations, no, those are going to happen really early. And then the rest of the movie is going to be all the characters dealing with that and growing. Yeo Jung-yoon's performance as the grandmother, like, it's the main one, and seeing the way her character changes over the course of it.
She just goes on a journey.
At a high level, she goes on a journey. And from a more logistical place, like, she just walks from amazing scene to amazing scene, where she gets partnered up with like every single character in the movie to have an amazing conversation. She's so good and so precise. I mean, she's the performance of the movie, I think. But before we finish up, I do want to mention another performance that, like, I for me, it's like my second favorite, and that's Kelly Marie Tran as Angela.
Yeah, she's really good.
You know, those kind of people who are in TV shows and movies, and they are just empathy machines. They can show up on screen and they can just do one simple thing, and they just do their job, and an audience can just immediately empathize with them. And she has that power, I think. Yeah. She's this incredible mess, and she's such a real character, and it's an incredible performance. Kelly Marie Tran is so good in this. And the other thing I'll say about her is that this movie also has one of the most incredible, completely organic Star Wars references in it, because of course she was Rose in The Last Jedi, which is a very good movie, and she's great in it. And I just want to be very clear about what I think of Kelly Marie Tran vis-a-vis Star Wars. I'm pro her and Star Wars, and her in Star Wars.
Yes, 100%.
But that Star Wars reference is and like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's amazing.
I was going to bring this up because I saw, I think it was a Letterboxd reaction online that was essentially just like, because, well, this I didn't. So apparently there's also a reference in this movie to the film Certain Women, which I've never seen, so I don't know what the reference was. But Lily Gladstone is in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, whoever saw like react to it, to this on Letterboxd, was like, wait, a Certain Woman reference and a Star Wars reference? Who starred in these movies in the universe of this movie? Like, you know.
I love it. Yeah. Great movie. Yeah. Two very, 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 very good movies. I mean, Quadrants, easy.
Yeah, like, how rare is this to like these single, just like one film and one remake, like, kind of things? I just feel like it's rare for them to both be like this similar level of good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is rare. Yeah, I can say we have many on the backlog where I've the thought of coming to you and saying, hey, do you want to watch a really good old movie and a really bad new movie? This was one where I felt like that was not going to be the case, and I was really excited to find out that it wasn't. Anyway, everybody see both of them because they're both really, really good. Quadrant's easy. Do you think they cared about the original?
Yes.
Do you think they was successful?
Yes.
100%. Well, this has been Adapter Parish. You can always find us online at adapterparishcast.com. There you'll find our social links, contact information, show notes for this and every episode, and more. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.